And welcome back to Who Would Win. As you noticed with this in the last video, I'm doing this in my room. I'm keeping it down just so noise, and I can't get a moment's peace with the dog downstairs. I can't do it in the other room while she's sleeping in the other room because it'll be loud enough to get her attention, wake her up, and she's going to want to be in the room where she'll go into the cat box and eat the cat crap with clay, the litter, and stuff like that. So, which would not be good for her. So she can't behave yet well enough for me to do that downstairs, and it's bothering me that I can't get a moment's peace when I get home at night anymore. But it's the price you pay for having kids. But and speaking of kids, Nightwing, Dick Grayson, versus DareDevil. This was a request by Shahel Rose, as it was the last one, and he actually requested one more that I'll be getting to next week, prior to any other ones I get to. So this one's, as I said, Nightwing versus DareDevil, and they're similar in basis, like their skill sets and their tech, things along those lines. But they do have some key differences. For instance, Daredevil having the superhuman abilities like the echolocation and whatnot. So we'll just go over them real quick because they're so similar that it's a little hard to say exactly. But that being said, Nightwing stands at 5'10" at 175. He's strong enough he's basically peak physical conditioning for a guy his size. So like Batman is peak for him, or like the pinnacle of human. They try to make some of these. Nightwing's more or less the same way, just for someone his stature. He's also said to be slightly more agile and faster than Batman. He can lift 350 pounds. He can support at least half a ton. Of course, that's what, great. That's with difficulty. Strong enough to throw a bed weapon as a weapon, damage Blockbuster, who has superhuman strength, and throw a fridge. So impressive. He's probably the most agile human in the DC universe, able to do a quadruple backflip. He's durable enough to withstand being pummeled by a guy named Super Soldier, or basically he's strong enough to withstand super strength beatings, more or less, to a degree. Like, he could not take a hit from Superman or something like that, but lower individuals like Bane, Blockbuster, things along those lines, he can withstand damage like that. A master martial artist, emphasizing on Aikido and Eskrima, which is a stick fighting. He's also knows boxing, capoeira, kabikito, judo, jiu-jitsu. I can't even pronounce that one I wrote down. Can't pronounce that one I wrote down. He's proficient in a lot. He's skilled enough in other normal weapons to have fought some individuals like Ra's al Ghul in fencing and bested them. And Ra's al Ghul is a master fencer, a duelist, so he's got that. Stealthy enough to actually sneak up on Batman a couple times, which is notable in this fight. We'll get to why in a little while. But he's a master escape artist, skilled marksman, suits made from a Nomak fire-resistant triple-weaved Kevlar with electrical light sensitivity to darken and increase with more light, so kind of like a camouflage of some sort. That won't play a factor in this one, though. Stressed, not... it's good for basically taking like not concussive. And it's good for taking like real stress in terms of like a blunt hit, but not necessarily as good for stabbing per se. He basically, his fighting style stresses on not getting hit. So that's a big thing. If he gets hit, he's not necessarily down, but it's not good for him if he's taking a lot of hits. He usually has a couple things up his sleeve, like his wingdings, which are essentially just his version of the batarangs, and Eskrima sticks, probably like a grappling hook as well to fly over. His Nightwing suit has often had like a mesh, almost wings on there for gliding, but I don't know if he would still have that in the modern interpretation, so we won't use it. But that's him. And now Daredevil I've actually done before. But Daredevil has blind, but has all his four senses heightened to the point of having echolocation, can smell someone, can feel body heat, can hear a human's heartbeat. Now, granted, some of those things, he can be overwhelmed easily by any of those senses. Super taste too. And he can't just walk into a room and hear someone's heartbeat. He has to actually focus in on someone to listen for their heartbeat. So he can't just be like, I hear you, I hear you, I hear you, because that would drive him crazy. He's learned to control that. Now, in terms of him, he's not peak physical condition, say, as a normal person. No, he's peak agility and reflexes, and he's an Olympic-level athlete in terms of that. He's enhanced in terms of strength and endurance, but he's not peak in terms of those fields. His real expertise are agility and reflexes. He can, how did I put that? He's, of course, his baton. I'll just go over the guy. He's got a 30-foot long aircraft cable that just coils in on there. Basically, can be kind of like a grappling hook, extension cord. It's got a split. It can split into 2 nunchucks, or it can be used as a harpoon. It's a very versatile weapon. He's a master martial artist in his own right. He knows boxing, wrestling, stick fighting, judo, aikido, ninjutsu, kung fu, many along those lines. He's considered one of the better martial artists, among the best in the DC Marvel universe. He's also considered the man without fear. Now, that's not necessarily true, but he's learned to overcome his fear to a certain extent. He can still feel it, but and most of these characters still can feel fear. Excuse me. He's gone up against people like the Kingpin. He's fought Wolverine. He's fought the Punisher. He's fought Bullseye. Bullseye's one of his main bad guys. So he's got a long roster of accomplishments he's done. Now, the way I see this fight breaking down, again, a realistic scenario, not necessarily the most plausible where they'd meet, is that Nightwing is probably patrolling at one point, and he's somehow in New York City for some reason, and he comes across Daredevil, who's doing his thing. He sees Daredevil, so he decides to, follow Daredevil in the suit. Now, Daredevil's just going to be busy at the time, and, go about his way. So Daredevil's kind of like going to be sitting or standing on a building, and then Nightwing seems to tells him this, and then now here's the explaining part comes. He's going to take Daredevil by surprise, and I say that because if he can sneak, Nightwing can sneak up on Batman. Batman can sneak up on Superman. Superman's senses, don't kid yourself, folks, are leagues above the Daredevil senses. If Batman can sneak up on Superman and Nightwing can sneak up on Batman, then Nightwing can easily sneak up on Daredevil. And in one crossover, Daredevil and Batman fought, but I don't believe it was about. I don't believe Batman snuck up on him. I just believe they fought at one point. And that first off, it would unnerve him that he got crept up on, because he's normally good at locating people. And after that, stealth plays no factor in the point for Nightwing, because at that point it's just like, no, I'll always know where you are. I'll always be looking for you. So they're going to trade back and forth for a little bit, and Daredevil's going to feel uncomfortable. So he's probably. The question is, who's going to make the first move? And I think it's going to be Daredevil, because Daredevil is definitely more self-taught than Nightwing is. Nightwing has learned not just from Batman. He's learned from one or two different masters in the DC universe apart from Batman. So right there, I think Daredevil's going to make the fatal move of maybe attacking first, because he is a bit more the man without fear, the vigilante, as opposed to Nightwing, who's more of the ally to Batman, the crusader to Batman. And I know people hype up Batman a lot, but there's some reason for that. Training with Batman gives you a lot of leeway. Now, don't get me wrong, Daredevil's fought like people like Iron Fist and things along those lines, and Captain America, and he's fought on equal terms with these individuals. That being said, we don't know how good they are in comparison to someone like Batman or Deathstroke or Bronze Tiger, these individuals. So. But we can assume that it would be very impressive. So he's probably going to fire out his grappling hook, and and then Nightwing's probably just going to nope, and then swing the wingdings. But he's Daredevil, so it's going to kind of be like Bullseye with the stained glass. There we go. The stained glass starts just. And goes, and then he's just going. Then he's probably gonna barely able to hook because Nightwing's probably gonna get caught briefly off guard, go whoop, but then go backflip. Maybe just he'll do his quadruple backflip just to show off, and then Daredevil's maybe going to be like going to try to, it's like, oh, okay, and then I'm going to get out of here. But no, Nightwing's going to follow and be like, shh, hi there, you ain't going nowhere. Grappling hook probably crashes into Daredevil. They go crashing on the ground, and that's when the physical fist fight actually starts. Now they have a couple similar bases. They both know boxing. They both know Aikido. They both know Ninjutsu. So there's not going to be any stealth going into this fight really at all. Now, in terms of how they're going to handle each other, they're both peak in terms of their agility and their reflexes. So, but Daredevil's echolocation sense gives him an edge in that because he can actually kind of has like a minor sense of precognition because he can sense like the air vibrations coming, so he can kind of repair. But Nightwing's got the strength, endurance, and durability, and I think maybe even a bit of a speed advantage over Daredevil. Maybe the speed one might be in question, but he's definitely got the physical in terms of the durability, the actual power advantage over Daredevil, more than likely. So it's going to be, at this time, it's going to be a battle of who's going to get the more hits in, who's going to block, who's going to dodge. And I don't see Nightwing getting a lot of hits on Daredevil, but he's the ones that he gets in, the ones like when he's going to like lock his joints or something like that and, maybe hit him in the right way, they're going to count when they get in. But Daredevil's going to probably get a couple more hits in. That's when Nightwing takes a step back, brings out his Eskrima sticks, and then, Daredevil does the exact same thing. He just goes with his baton staff, and they go back and forth, back and forth. And at this point, it's not going to be about who's going to be able to physically take the more damage, because I do think that's Nightwing. But again, Daredevil's going to be the guy who avoids more hits than Nightwing, even though their styles revolve around that. Daredevil's got the advantage because of his echolocation. At this point, it's not about the physicality of the individual, it's about the mentality of the individual. And I think Nightwing edges out him in terms of the mentality, because Nightwing, they both have tragic backgrounds, and they're both disciplined fighters in their own regard. But the difference is that, first off, Nightwing's a more disciplined individual. I think, again, Batman, Grandmaster, I can't remember the name of the Grandmaster. I'm certain someone else even traded with Deathstroke for a little bit. So he's got that on his side for discipline, but he's also got a lot of pent-up anger in him, similar to Daredevil. But it's not the same as Daredevil. Daredevil grew up in a bad part of the Bronx. Bad part of the Bronx. Grew up in Hell's Kitchen. Lost his dad, so he decided to become Daredevil, a lawyer, and fight crime during the day in the courts and fight crime at night on the streets. So the difference between the two in terms of the mentality is that he did it just to protect people, and yeah, he can be a little vicious. He can be vicious at points and brutal, but overall, he's just a guy. Nightwing is different in the sense that his mentality. He took up the mantle of Batman for a while. He's mentally intimidating enough to actually mimic Batman and make people believe he was Batman. And if he's the level of mentally scarred, because Batman is mentally scarred, and mentally driven as Batman is, which he more or less is in a certain way. Not to mention that not only did he lose his parents, he saw his parents get killed. He's dealt with a lot more. I would say he's dealt with a lot more sickos and psychopaths in his life than Daredevil, because you have to remember he's dealt with the entire or near the entire rogue gallery of Batman, not including his own villains. That he's going to be the more vicious of the two individuals in combat. Daredevil's more street as opposed to Nightwing, who's more formal. And Daredevil's more just, okay, I'm going to, fight crime. Whereas where I think Nightwing feels he has to, Daredevil feels the need to do it. What's the best way to put that? There's need, and then there's has to. Daredevil feels he needs to do it, whereas Nightwing feels he has to do it. And that's where their mentalities are different. And that's where I think that Nightwing's going to want it more than Daredevil. That's the short answer to what I was just getting with. And so through that, it's going to be eventually Nightwing's going to resort to more different tactic, different style. Probably throw out maybe a smoke grenade in his face or something like that, and then he's just going to start get a couple of hits and just boom, boom, boom. Now, when I say smoke grenade, it's not going to like blind him because blind, but let's not forget other senses. And once Nightwing just starts to learn more about his opponent through the fight, which he would, because again, trained by Batman, and he's just an observant individual all around, and a master detective in his own right, he would start to pick up on Daredevil's weaknesses and exploit those weaknesses. The problem with Daredevil in these fights, and I did another one with him versus Riddick, is that his weaknesses, once you know them, are extremely exploitable. And that's where I think Daredevil really just loses this match, is that Nightwing is going to just want it more, and he's going to be able to exploit those weaknesses more than Daredevil can exploit any weakness that he has. So eventually he's going to use maybe like a flashbang grenade or something like that, like a small one. He probably has something like that. And just right next to him, boom, blow out an eardrum or something like that, and then just wham, bam, 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 and then just down for the count. And Daredevil's just going to be like, not dead, because neither of them are going to kill each other. But I think Nightwing takes this, again, in a scenario where Daredevil wins, though, it's just going to be a scenario where he essentially just outlasts Nightwing and eventually just gets him hung up, probably ties him up with the cord and just hangs him out over the building or something like that. Or knocks him out. That's going to be his. He's maybe going to try to, that will probably be another scenario where Nightwing tries to smoke grenade to hide, but Daredevil sneaks up on him and just, knocks him out or something like that. So that's plausible, but I think the former is far more likely where Nightwing wins. I'd give it to him 80% out of 100, with Daredevil getting a 20%. That's how I kind of see that one. So, again, just to break it down, I think Nightwing wins this most of the time, but Daredevil's got a shot. It's not a bad shot. He's got like 1 in 5 chance, more or less. So that's my thoughts on that. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. And if you have an idea for who would win, please put that in the comments below. I will get to that at some point in the near future. So this week is probably going to be Hail Caesar. I don't know if there's going to be a showing tomorrow night for it. I will see. If not, I will definitely see it Friday. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and have a good night, folks.